I called him when I first zoomed in with him, the new it guy in rock and roll. I know that sounds super corny, please, but you are like, I'm doing like a little bit of like bullet point prep for this interview. And I'm like, where do I start with Tim Montana? It's just crazy. You're like a storyteller. There are so many stories to be told with you.
Yeah. I've
It's
seen
it's
some
it's
things.
nuts. Yeah. Yeah. Now, first of all, I want to welcome you to WDHA to New Jersey. You're on our WDHA Rock the Rock Fest VIP roster. So we're going to have some fun at the show. You're doing the acoustic VIP pre-show. We've got Stained and Seether, the Struts, Aaron Jones, Dayseeker, you, Plush, people in the VIP. This is going to be a super, super fun show on April 25th at the Prudential Center. Amazing arena. So it's just such a beautiful, incredible place, home of the MTV Video Music Awards. So Prudential's,
Wow.
yeah. Prudential's awesome. So you're going to love it. You and me are definitely going to have a drink. We're going to hang out. You're going to come to the broadcast table. We're going to have some fun. But I want to start, like, where do I start? All right, let's kind of start with little Tim the youngster.
Yeah.
Your beginnings were beyond humble.
Right.
You weren't the kid who grew up, with everything around you. Very humble beginnings. So talk a little bit about you're growing up in Montana, and what was it like for you as a kid?
Single wide trailer, off grid. I didn't know any better, so I thought I had it made, you don't know you're poor until you grow up and then you make a little bit of money. You're like, oh, like my kids are spoiled. Well, you just brought back the funniest memory of one of the first times I ever heard Stained. I was probably 13 years old digging an outhouse hole. And that was where we went to the bathroom. And my instructions were to dig the hole deeper than myself, and then I could come in. And they call it the Rocky Mountains for a reason. I remember hearing Stained. It's been a while. I had a little radio out there as I'm got a crowbar and a shovel, and I'm just digging, throwing dirt over my shoulder. And that's funny. I just had that memory come back to me. But yeah, it was a tough childhood. It kind of designed me for the music business, though. Out there in the woods and for everything from digging outhouse holes to I built a jackleg fence, which where you have to log the timber and you build them like that so the cows can't push them over. And then you do like 14-foot lodge pole guys. And I look back, I'm like, I was 15 years old and I had to cut the timber down, put it on the back of a four-wheeler, bring it up there, brace up the pieces that were probably a couple 100 pounds by the time I put them together. And so that was kind of my life. And I wasn't really allowed to go to town. I don't think I even had a girlfriend until I was 17. I was just kind of a forced labor type guy on this very poor little ranch outside of Butte, and did not have a great male figure in my life ever. I had a great mom that always made sure that I could sneak my guitar to school. We'd have to sneak it out
Behind
of the back.
every amazing man is a strong woman, and most
Oh, yeah.
times it's the mom. So
Yep.
that doesn't surprise me at all. Well, that's what's going to make you and has made you such a great artist. But definitely now you're kind of moving into the rock format, and the rock format loves you with the devil. But that's what it's about. It's about storytelling, and that's where I
Yeah.
think that you are really emerging as this awesome artist, because you've got some stories to tell. So then again, where do you keep going? You get your first guitar,
Yeah.
mom's pretty instrumental in that. So what is the first rock record that you actually hear where you make that connection and you think, you know what, I kind of want to be involved in this?
We owned like a pawn shop in northern Montana, and my mom would bring home boxes of tapes and CDs. And I remember the exact moment I found a tape that had Mr. Brownstone on one side and Welcome to the Jungle on the other. Had one song on each side. And I put it in, and I remember the exact feeling when I was like 5. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and the sirens start going off. Then you hear Axl Rose, and I was like, my mom said the second I heard that, I couldn't put spoons down. I just kept singing Welcome to the Jungle. So
That
that
was
was
your moment. That
yeah,
was your
that was
moment.
the moment that I remember that was very clearly defined. And then later in life, I was probably like 10 or 11, and my mom went to Missoula, Montana, and saw Ted Nugent and ZZ Top. And she described Ted shooting flaming arrows across the stage and these guys with these beards. So I ended up really getting into ZZ Top. And then years later, I get kind of adopted by Billy Gibbons. And I'm like,
You
what?
and
That's
Billy,
cool.
it's literally like a father and son. So, all
Yeah.
right, let's fast forward to that. So, because you've had these weird kind of moments in time, where all of a sudden you get a moment in time and life changes for you.
Yeah.
We get them, but we don't necessarily get them with like Billy F. Gibbons. Like I've been in radio a long time, way more than half my life. I don't know what they let me in for as an 18-year-old kid, but I've been doing it forever. I've met Billy and interviewed him a few times. Moments in time for me.
Right.
I'm like obsessed. Like he's answering questions and I'm looking at his fingers. Like he's an enigma. I never have grabbed anyone. I've never touched an artist. I had to grab his beard. I thought maybe by osmosis I'd get something. I touched it. Thank God he's such a good dude. And he was like, no, it's fine. People do it all the time. You end up forging this relationship
Yeah.
with Billy. You guys just kind of meet and something connects. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Connect. It was 10 years ago. We just had our 10-year friendiversary, and I was recording, had this song called This Beard Came Here to Party, and all I had was a chorus and a verse. And then a friend of a friend connected me with Billy and said he's going to show up. And I didn't believe he was going to show up. And here he came, and he had his little red SG, and he let me film it. It's actually on YouTube. If you look up
I've
this,
seen it. Yeah, it's
Beard Came Here to
incredible.
Party is the first day I ever laid eyes on my hero. And we went in, recorded it. He left, and he took a mix CD we'd burned of the mix that day. It was really rough, but he met a guy out at a restaurant that said, "Hey, I'm looking for a theme song for a sports team about beards." And Billy's like, "Get out."
A sports team, right?
Yeah, the Boston Red Sox were growing their
Right.
beard. I hesitate on that because I don't know anything about sports because I grew up without television. So I'd tell that story in like New York and they'd start booing. And I'm like, oh, that's a thing up here, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for us too. I'm not necessarily a Red Sox fan, but
Right.
but they're bigger than like a sports team. They're the sports team. I mean, the rivalry for us and them has been crazy over the years. And that is just wild. I mean, that's absolutely
And
incredible.
they
Again,
won the
moments in
series.
time.
Yeah, they won the series, and I still have the Blu-ray sitting over there. It's like the World Series, and then it has Obama calls the team, and then Tim Montana, This Beard Came Here to Party with Billy F. Gibbons. And I'm like, that's weird that I've never watched a sporting event my entire life, and my big break was through a sporting event.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about that. And you know what? I don't want to talk about these moments in time and discount what a great artist you are too. I mean, an incredible guitar player, an incredible singer. We fast forwarded to Billy F, but we'll go backwards a little bit to David Letterman, who sees
Yeah.
you performing, in Letterman, and I've watched that clip a million times. You're so cute in that clip.
Just my little chin strap
Oh
beard.
my God, with your little baby face. I want to like pinch it. And then you get up there with the band.
Yeah.
Holy, you nailing it. I mean, that band is just incredible. So Letterman sees you and Letterman's like, oh, I don't give a crap if you have a manager or whatever you're doing. You're coming to New York. You're getting on the show. You're playing on my show.
He paid for the whole thing too, which is rare. Usually
Nuts.
labels and artists pay to go. He paid for my flights, put us in a 5-star hotel. That was a bad idea. We might have partied a little hard in there.
For you. Good. Take advantage of that. Good. That's wild. That was
Yeah.
2008. I mean, this is how long ago it is and how long you have been doing this.
Yeah. Then there was another dream a lot of people don't know about that I put together through that experience. I was a huge Blues Brothers fan, and I love the movie. I love the music, and I met Paul Schaefer. And if you look back, Paul Schaefer was the original Saturday Night Live Blues Brother, and he couldn't do the movie because he was out producing a record, but he had another keys player do it. I met Paul, went back to Nashville, met Steve Cropper, and cut a song called "It's Good to See You Again" rock and roll with Steve Cropper and Paul Schaefer, and he played James Brown's organ on it.
Oh
And
my God.
I checked all these little boxes of like, hey, I saw that movie when I was a kid. I want to work with these guys, and did that
Well,
one,
that's why
Wow.
you're such an interesting guest. That's why I'm like, oh my God, like where do I even start with Tim Montana? Because there's so much to talk about. And then of course we fast forward even further, and you forged this great friendship with one of your heroes, and that's Dave Grohl, because you were a Nirvana, you know, fan maniac growing up. You love the band, and Foo Fighters too. And Grohl, Grohl taps into the fact that you're a very authentic type of
Yeah.
artist. And there's sometimes you can't really explain a connection that you get with somebody, but you guys become kind of fast friends and buddies and confidants. And you guys met, was it at like a barbecue festival or
Yeah, it was
something
Memphis in
similar?
May, and he came up,
Wow.
and was doing acoustic guitar, and my drummer was playing a cajon, and then I see Dave come up. I heard he was there, and I don't know if I manifest my destiny, because I did the same thing with Letterman. I heard he had a ranch near where the show was, and I said to my drummer at the time, what if he shows up and what if we play the late show? And they're like, you're crazy. And then I told my buddy, Dave Grohl's here. Maybe I just have good luck with Dave's, but I'm like, Dave's here. What if he shows up and we jam and we become buddies? And I haven't got to open for the Foo Fighters yet. I think that's hopefully coming. But Dave sat in, played a song with me, and then he grabbed me and said, hey, walk the river. I want to hear your life story. And like an hour and a half later, he's like, wow, dude. He's like, you're wild. I told him the whole thing. And I was deflecting fans. Everyone assumed I was his bodyguard. I'm a pretty big guy.
That's
And
funny.
I thought that was all I'd see of Dave Grohl. And at 3 a.m. that night, I get a cool rock and roll picture of like a raven doing something. And he said, man, there's not a lot of renegades left in this business. We're going to keep you around. And so we've been buddies ever since. And next thing I know, I go there the next year, and he goes, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? And I go, I don't know. He goes, I'm playing Sonic Temple Festival. Do you want to go? And I said, let me book a flight. And he goes, funny story. We have an airplane. And
Wow.
I'm driving the tour bus right down the tarmac in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm sitting there with Taylor Hawkins and Pat and Chris and all the freaking guys. And we get on the jet, and there I am ripping on a private airplane. We land in Ohio. Police escort. That was the wildest thing. I've been in a couple rock star jets, but I've never been in a jet that A, had a bartender, and B, you land and you have like 13
From
sheriff.
digging the outhouse to the jet with the bartender. I mean, this is like, yeah, these are the amazing stories that make you a really great artist. And your band, of course, Tim Montana and the Shrednecks, everybody was listening to them. So there was always like some kind of buzz about you. And then all of a sudden, all of these like wild and crazy dots start connecting. So when people may have thought of you more in a country realm, it's so funny because I'm listening to I happen to be in a store and a streaming service is on, right? I told this story on the air too. And there's like a dude on the streaming service, and he's like, there's this new thing that people are doing, Jelly Roll and Austin Mead and Tim Montana, whatever. And what would we call it? And I thought, well, when I was growing up, it was called Southern Rock. It wasn't like a new thing. I grew up listening to, yes, Iron Maiden, and I grew up listening to Sly and the Family Stone, but I also grew up listening to Skinner, ZZ, and the Marshall Tucker Band and Blackfoot. And it's not a new thing. It's something that I had a Leonard Skinner jacket, denim jacket when I was in school, along with my Rush jacket. So when, people think that crossing over is like this new thing, but you've always sounded like a rocker to me.
Yeah. And I tell people that all the time. Nashville never let me in. I've made these country rock, whatever you want to call them, records, and I don't think was ever that far off from sounding like ZZ Top or Kid Rock. I got that a lot, right? They're like, oh, you have this voice like this and that. And but everyone's like, oh, you're crossing over. I'm like, no, they never let me in the party. I was always
right. How am I going to cross over? Right.
Yeah, too loud, too obnoxious. I think I was just a lost kid, and I finally found a home at rock and roll. So and I wasn't lost. I was just learning and growing and honing my craft. But every time I turn a song into my Nashville people, they're like, this is a rock song. This is a rock song.
Absolutely. 100%. This is where you should be. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Because here's what I loved when I first heard The Devil You Know. There's a heaviness about your sound that I really like. There's that real amazing heaviness that I think really translates to rock fans. And so talk to me about that song. Talk to me about The Devil You Know.
Yeah, that was one we wrote, gosh, I want to say end of last year. And I went in to write to a second song, right? And that's one thing I hope I can bring to the format is I've had my butt kicked writing songs for years, right? Like 15 years of songwriting with the best. I've written with Stapleton, Gibbons, Kid Rock.
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
The best of the best have schooled me, and I hope I can bring that to the rock format. But I was doing a double write that day. I wrote in the morning, we wrote Devil You Know, and I knew it was cool. I didn't know how cool. But you write 100 songs. That was something that somebody told me. He said, you want to write a hit, write 100 songs, and you might have one. And so I kind of took that into let's go get your butt kicked 2 times a day and like really how to write lyrics and this and that. And so I went to the second write, and I started playing the first song. And the guy goes, what is that? And I'm like, it's called Devil You Know. And he started closing out his computer. Michael Wilshire is his name. He was also producing me. And he goes, we're not writing another song today. We're recording this because this is a damn hit. And as I'm laying down the guitar, storm rolls in. I said, let's put the microphone out front. The storm is so weird because it was like a beautiful sunshiny day and then the skies are just black. And I'm like, devil you know, or the devil you don't. Like this sunshine right here, you know, we don't know what's coming. And I'm like, let's record it. It could be part of the song. And so what we recorded that day, which you think would be a demo, is the master. I played the guitars on that. It was just me and Michael Wilshire on
Oh, I
guitar.
love that.
Yeah, it stuck. So yeah, but it was a special song. Making the video was really important to me. I put a little glimpse in there of some of the childhood stuff. I got my instruments taken away all the time and shit broke. Sorry for cussing. Stuff broke in my
Okay.
room. And I had my son play me. And he did that in the
That
Charlie
was
Sheen.
your son. That's your
Yeah.
son in the video.
No fear of
Wow.
dying. It's the funniest thing ever. And the first video he did was with Charlie Sheen and Mostly Stoned, which was got me my record deal. And met Charlie, and he became a good guy. Sober 6 years, custody of his kids, doing great. By the way, I got to throw
Good.
props to my man. He did the
Excellent.
hokey pokey and turned himself around. But yeah, my son did that, and then when we did Devil You Know, I'm like, Dalton's got to play me. So he played me again, and my wife called it was so funny because my buddy was also a victim of child abuse, and he wanted to be the abusive stepdad. And my wife called me and she goes, I know you and your friends all need therapy, but if my 12-year-old needs therapy from replaying sequences from your childhood, we're going to have a problem. Because he
You're in
called mom.
trouble, dude.
He's like, Mom, this is really scary. Everyone's yelling at me and breaking stuff.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Well, you've always been so open about your past. And you know, it's amazing. Do you have 4 kids?
I have 4, yeah. And I've never told anybody this, but we just fostered a kid for 3 months, which,
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah,
good for
he went
you.
through almost storybook, same thing I did. I got taken away from my dad and went into state custody. And when that was happening up here, I wanted to do it for him, but I wanted to do it for me. It was kind of therapeutic, you know, to be able to kind of close that door of like, okay. And when I was, I had this kid for about 3 months and I'd ride around and I was like, hey man, there's a lot of roads you could take right now. And I know you're in a bad spot mentally, but he's like, what would you know about it? And I told him my whole story and he was just like, wow. So yeah, so we had 5 kids and then now we're back to 4. So
Yeah, full circle moment for you,
yeah,
for sure. So talk to me a little bit about the kids. Are they, I don't want to say musically inclined, but are they musically connected? Have they connected with a lot of the music maybe that you have connected with, or is there that sort of thing, that
my
internal thing?
oldest, my oldest daughter is 15. And she always could hear a song on the radio and pick it up on the piano. And that's how I learned. I'd hear something on the radio, I'd grab a guitar, and I'd be like, how are you doing that? And it's the ear thing. And I'm like, oh no, she's got the ear curse, which hopefully I'm like, by God, be a doctor, anything, don't do this. But she's actually really great. And over COVID, she was all Taylor Swift and Harry Styles. Over COVID, she got into Nirvana and Alice in Chains, but didn't want
Ooh.
to tell dad because it's not cool to listen what dad listens to, let alone what he listened to when he was a kid. So she told mom and she started secretly buying Nirvana and Alice in Chains stuff, right? And then it was Father's Day. I was going to come to Montana and work on me and Billy's new bar up here. And she said, hey, Dad, I heard the Foo Fighters are playing Bonnaroo. It'd be really cool if you took your daughter. And I'm like, oh, let me cancel the flight. So I got a hold of the band and I took her backstage. And I have this moment where Pat Smear, I told him, I said, she just got into Nirvana. And he's like, where is she? Where is she? And he grabs her and just starts talking to her. But they're talking about African cats or something because Pat's a really interesting guy. But I just had this moment and I didn't get a photo, but I'm kind of glad I didn't because she's just beat red. And she's like, this guy was on Unplugged in New York. And then, the Foo Fighters came to Big Sky, Montana about 4 months ago. And finally I had Dave. Dave was really busy at Bonnaroo, but I told Dave the same thing. And some of my people were like, you tell Dave about your single and this and that. And I'm like, no, I let Dave talk to my kid. And I just sat back and just watched. It was the coolest thing ever. And I did get a photo of Dave and my daughter. It's really cute. But she's really into songwriting. She uses the F word way too much. And
Here's what I find though. I find the mini-me's are mostly dads and their daughters as
yes.
opposed to dads and their sons. Like there's so many more of like, yeah, she's like a little mini-me. And I just see that so much more. So that doesn't surprise me that she's had the radar for you, Dad.
Yes.
And now you guys have like that hyper connection. And I love that. Those are moments she will never in her whole life forget those moments. Like, you know that,
Yeah.
like done,
Yeah.
like
She
you're
did
the
ask
hero
me.
forever.
She did ask me the other day, can I meet Jerry Cantrell? And I'm like, well, dad has to meet him first. And that's one of the last guys on my bucket list to meet is Jerry Cantrell. So, but the fact that a 15-year-old wants to meet him, I think is so cool. And
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. And artists love that too. I mean, are you kidding me? So you mentioned the bar. You and Billy have a bar together too. Is it the Wise River Club?
yep. Yeah, it
Very nice.
opened.
I said this on the air the other day when I was playing your music, and I said if I ever owned a bar with Billy Gibbons, I would just like I'd move in. Like you'd never see me at home. You did. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's in this town of Wise River, Montana. It's about population 40, and it's iconic for fishing. The Big Hole battlefields right here, where Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce had that iconic battle. The history up here is crazy. Our bar was like a stagecoach in the late 1800s, then became the Wise River Hotel in 1911. And just has this crazy history. They had a pet elk that Evel Knievel would get drunk and try to ride. Hank Williams Jr. has a history of fistfights in the bar.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Billy bought it without even seeing it. I just sent him videos and he's like, I'm in, man. Where do I
Sight
go?
unseen. Yeah, that's incredible. Billy with like his cap and like his cool like pajamas that he wears. I can just picture him in that bar. That's got to be unbelievable.
He came up about 2 months ago and randomly was driving through from Umatilla, Oregon to Canada. And he said, hey, man, I'm on Interstate 15. Where's the Wise? He calls it the Wise. And I said, dude, you're like 10 miles or 12 miles away where you're passing. So he rolls in. It was a Sunday, and we just had a few cowboys in there having lunch. And I said, Billy, get on stage and play LaGrange.
No.
He did. He got up there. He's like, dead. And all these cowboys are like, that guy looks just like, and then they saw the bus leave and they're like, oh my God, ZZ Top was just here.
That is insane. That's insane. I would have been on the floor. Somebody would have had to literally lift me up. That's crazy.
But he's such a sweet guy. He took a bunch of boxes of merch off his bus. And the other room, we have a dining room. We have a hotel upstairs. We have a little casino. We have campgrounds, cabins. You'll have to come up and visit.
I would love to.
Your name on it. But he goes, should we give our customers a little something, token of appreciation? So he brought ZZ Top keychains to every little table where all these people are eating. And I think most of them couldn't believe it was him. There was one old lady that had no idea who he was and looked very confused why a guy with a beard like that is wearing a tuxedo or a suit on a random Sunday at noon.
Passing out keychains. Oh, that's insane, man. Oh my God. That's incredible. And you guys have Whisker Bomb.
Yeah, we have a pepper sauce. That's where it kind of started. My wife's in the candy business. Actually, her company's based out of New Jersey. Promotion and Motion, Welch's Fruit Snacks.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, awesome.
So she flies from Wise River, Montana to New Jersey all the time. It's quite a trek, but that's where her office is at. So she was in to candy retail, and Billy and I have both been spicy food barbecue fanatics ever since we met. We just always go out and either get Mexican food or barbecue. That's it. And we finally said, why don't we start our own pepper sauce company? So we started Whisker Bomb. We've got 2 flavors of hot sauce, 2 flavors of barbecue, 2 flavors of salsa. And we've had a lot of fun. We've gone on TV a couple of times, and Billy changes his songs. We played Have Mercy, been waiting for the sauce.
I saw that, waiting for the bus, waiting for the sauce. I saw that. That was incredible. Incredible.
As a ZZ Top purist, I don't know that we should be changing the words to such an iconic song. You wrote it. You're the boss. I'm like, I'm going to get on some ZZ Top site. It's going to be like, who's this jerk?
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, it's so funny because everybody said, when you meet Tim Montana, you're going to love him. And I did. And I do. You're like such a cool dude. It was so much fun hanging out with you. And when we are at Prudential Center for Rock the Rock Fest, we're having some cocktails. I'm requesting to get some Whisker Bomb in for the VIP.
Okay.
So I think that would be really fun if, we had some food and some barbecue stuff, and then we had a little Whisker Bomb on there for some of the people that are going to be hanging out at VIP with us. So definitely looking forward to that. But what a fun time I've had with you. Literally, like, you could do an interview for 4 hours. I mean, I think I could literally chat with you for 4 hours, but I know we're on limited time. And congratulations, by the way, on The Devil You Know. It's an amazing track, and just burning up for us at WDHA. So excited for you on that too.
Thank you so much for supporting. It means the world to me.
Tim Montana on Reconnect with Rockers. And I can't wait to see you. We're just under 100 days away, and looking so forward to having you in Jersey.
Awesome. I can't wait. Thank you so much.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Dover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on Route 46 in Rockaway.